This is BQ. He came out in the game last night. He is absolutely incredible. So in this video, we're going to show you all the test results. We're going to tell you exactly what this guy does, what he doesn't do, and we're going to tell you the importance of him in the game and how valuable he is going to be. Hey everybody, I'm War Daddy Chatsky. I put videos out all the time. I stream all the time. I love the game of Rise of Kingdoms. I've been enjoying doing content creation since really November of 2024, so not very long. And I love doing these test streams, okay? I got with Cortex, my buddy, and we did a simulcast. We had a lot of people involved, a lot of people having a good time. People were watching both of our streams and having a great time with that. And so everybody that was involved in that community, that's really kind of from our Discord and my 300 crew and all that. So if you want to join that community, you can click the Discord link in the description, join that community. If you like the video, if you like the streams that we do, be sure to throw a thumbs up on it. It really helps out the channel as we continue to grow it. And if you want to subscribe, it does not cost you anything. So please consider subscribing. This right here is part of the stream that we were doing. We were doing one-on-one fighting. We were kind of going through here a little bit and having a good time with it. You can see that Fluffy and I were doing some 1v1 type stuff on it, and it was a lot of fun, okay? So I'm going to have that up here in the corner, and I'm going to talk to you about this just a little bit, okay? We got BQ on the wheel last night, okay? I had tickets reserved. I had 726 tickets. Okay, and then from there, I added another 90 tickets when it came to the different things that you can do with the event. So I just hammered the shop here on all this. I bought the bundle. I even have 2 tickets left over I didn't use. I don't know why, but I ended up getting, out of 826 tickets, I ended up getting 350 heads for BQ. Then I just maxed them out the rest of the way. I'm good with that. I can save more tickets down the road. It's not like I'm losing out on these spins because I'll save them for the archers when they come out. So being able to do that makes it so much easier to instant max, and that's what we did. So with that, I'm going to show you my gear. This is my gear on BQ, okay? It is pretty good. It's not meta. I don't have the KVK stuff for the helmet and the weapon, okay? I don't have the horn to tier 5, okay? I'm a cav guy, everybody knows that, but I absolutely used to run a lot of infantry stuff back in the day, and I've got an affinity for infantry, and I definitely got an affinity for this guy because he is absolutely crazy, okay? And so along with that, I went ahead and converted all of my arch stuff to pincer, so I was ready to go. I was absolutely ready to go. We've done so many tests on pincer in general with like Gorgo Wallace and with like Liu Che and Alex and William Wallace with that, with Liu Che in the field, and it's wild. So I have this on both of my accounts. And so I thought, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to run an arc, a custom arc, and we're going to go have fun with it. So we tested and dueled 1v1. We tested and dueled 5v5. Okay, then we did garrisons, and then we did rallies. And so we're going to go through all that right now. But first and foremost, we talk about BQ. He's got crazy skills for the field. It really, really works out well. And so with that, we were having a good time as we were doing some of these duelings. And I've got some of these saved for you. Let me see here. We'll get into some of these. Okay. So I am fighting against Fluffy in these duels. And let me just preface this. When I fight Fluffy in a 1v1 duel, I want the best of the best, and he is one of the best of the best. He and I have identical gear, okay, because we're both cav players, and Fluffy also has the kind of wedge stuff that I have, okay? And so it's pretty insane what this guy has. It's one of the best dueling marches of anybody in the game when it comes to Fluffy or me or some of the other high-end cavs in all the different kingdoms. It doesn't get any better. And that's what I wanted to run Liu Che against. And so I ran Liu Che against, or Liu Che, I'm sorry, BQ against. That's where I ran BQ and Liu Che against that, and I wanted to see how well it performed. Now, it is a 5-target AoE march. BQ and Liu Che collectively hit 10 targets every skill cycle. So, with that being said, it's not built for dueling, but I just wanted to see. So we did. We checked it out, and so I favorited them over here, so we can come down here in some of these with Fluffy, and here's kind of the ratio. You're getting a 13,000 sev wound difference, This one's only an 8,000 7 wound difference, actually a little bit more than 8,000. This one here is about 11,000. This one here is another 8,000. It's never going to trade quite amazingly against this particular pairing when it comes to dueling Huo and Arthur. But you got to remember, I don't have meta gear. Okay, so I don't have meta gear. I've got meta armaments, but I don't have meta gear, so it will do even better. So it might even trade a little bit more even with this. But then you look at this and say, okay, well, what does this thing do in the field? And we tested it. We tested it like crazy, and we went 5v5. So from that standpoint, in the dueling sense, this thing is a good dueling march. It's good. It's not great, but it performs so well with the fact that I don't have the meta stuff on my infantry that Fluffy has on his cavalry. It really held its own. So then when we went to a 5v5, this is how we ran it. It's very easy for me and Fluffy to do this, okay? Because Fluffy and I, when we run this stuff, we can literally run it however we want to run it. We basically ran Ragnar CPO, okay? We ran Huo Joan. Then we ran BQ with, let me show you, BQ with Liu Che. That's what I ran, okay? In addition to that, we ran Zhuge with Herman, or I'm sorry, Zhuge with Phillip. That was the one archer march we brought, okay? And then we also ran Arthur with William. So these were the marches that we brought to the 5v5. Now the difference was, I'll go ahead and put this here just so everybody kind of gets a visual. Okay, so these are the 5 marches I brought. I have almost identical gear and armaments to Fluffy, like very, very even, okay? When he and I duel 5v5, it's very, very even. He'll win some, I'll win some, and it'll be even, okay? And so what he did was he brought Liu Che with Alex. Now he's got pincer just like I do for BQ and Liu Che. Well, he runs Liu Che and Alex, so he did not run BQ. And this is where it got crazy. Okay, so we're running the same 5 marches, except I'm running BQ Liu Che and he's running Liu Che Alex. And the difference is absolutely staggering. Okay, let me kind of go through here with you so everybody understands. Okay, so let me see, 1 2 3 4. Okay, so these are the 5 marches that we ran. The first one that I run and kind of showing you how this 5v5 set up was that I am getting my Zhuge wrecked. Overall, it's getting killed. Okay, so he's targeting Zhuge first. I'm targeting his Zhuge first. Okay, the next target's Huo. It gets wrecked as well. Okay, so we're gonna kill each other's marches pretty good. But if you see, my Huo is actually trading positive. And on the second march you're attacking in a 5v5, that's not really supposed to happen. And then you come over here and look on my Arthur William, it didn't even die. Okay, so here's how many troops are left over on my Arthur, 103,000. Okay, and then you come over here on my Ragnar CPO, it had 182,000. And then you come over here on my BQ with Liu Che, look at what it's doing. And it had 221,000. So I'd literally, between 221,000, 182,000, that's about 400,000 plus another 100,000, I had 500,000 troops left over. Now we had expansions and we're running 340,000, 330,000 K marches. Okay, that's how many marches that we're running, or how many troops we're running in the march. And watching what this thing did, it did it over and over and over. When I put this thing out over and over and over, it was actually incredible to see what this thing did in a 5v5. And so with that, we knew immediately BQ with Liu Che was absolutely busted. It tipped the scale, because typically in a 5v5, there's so much RNG with it, it could go either way. But it was like this for about 4 or 5 in a row. 4 or 5 in a row. This particular setup with BQ and Liu Che absolutely smoked the 5 marches Fluffy had. And we even talked about it. Dom and I were even talking about it. And Dom was like, Chadsky, even if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter. It's so overpowering that you are absolutely wrecking the marches I have. And that's where BQ is, okay? And so we did it multiple times over here and tried to kind of figure out how that was gonna work. Let me see if I've got some more in here. I think I do. Here's some. I actually ran it the second time on these things with William Wallace. Look how crazy this ended up. Of course, my Zhuge is gonna be the first thing that dies, and then my Huo will be the next thing that dies. We'll see see how my Huo traded. That's what it should look like. I should trade a little bit negative. And then my Arthur William didn't trade great, but it dies. And then look what happens to my BQ with Wallace. I had 300,000 troops remaining. Here was my Ragnar CPO. It had, let me see how many I had here. It had 62,000 remaining. So even when I ran BQ with Wallace, and we got this over and over, it never lost. Okay, it never lost. And so this is a good against good. Okay, really meta against meta, marches, gear, armaments, everything. And if I have BQ in my lineup, while he ran Liu Che and Alex, and he even did Liu Che and Phillip and kind of messed around a little bit there, it didn't matter. BQ in the lineup far tips the scale. I've never seen a commander do this. Arthur maybe a little bit, but BQ hits 5 marches. And he does so much when it comes into some of these murder ball situations, and it comes into the field, that it didn't matter what he ran. It was getting wrecked. And I've never seen a commander that's able to completely transform a 5v5 situation like BQ. It is unbelievable. And that's just what the pincer's all about. We know what the pincer's about, guys. It's crazy good. Even when Fluffy put this on his Liu Che and had Alex behind him, it should be amazing, and it probably is. However, the problem with that is Alex is not a Smite commander. So these things, all these special inscriptions, are so good for a 2 Smite commander march. It's wild. And it just showed how incredibly gifted this commander is in the field. It was wild. And so when we look at this overall, people were asking me, is he instant max? Yes. If you're fighting soon, you got to get this guy max. I don't care if you're replacing Alex. I don't care if you're running Liu Che Phillip and you just want to move Phillip somewhere else. Run this guy with Liu Che. I don't care if you're running any kind of situation with like a Wallace Liu Che. You're going to bench Wallace for this guy. And so the main thing that people have to understand, and I'll do a murder ball kind of setup later as far as a video goes, as far as what the best 5, 6, 7 marches, whether different combinations and all that stuff. But this guy, I've told players this, if you don't have Ragnar maxed, okay, you can get him on the dailies, but if you don't have him maxed and you run 2 infantry, let's say you run Guan CPO and you run Liu Che with Wallace, or Liu Che with Alex, or Liu Che with Phillip, okay, you will put in BQ and you will literally run 2 Smite marches. If you don't have Ragnar, you run 2 Smite marches. You will literally run BQ with Phillip and Liu Che with Alex, or if you have Wallace, you'll run BQ with Wallace and Liu Che with Alex, or Liu Che with Phillip. Okay, if you for whatever reason, it's weird, if you don't have Liu Che but you have Wallace, you're literally gonna run Phillip with Wallace, or I'm sorry, Wallace with Alex, and then BQ with Phillip. There's all kinds of different ways you can do that, but this thing is out of control good. So that's what it was in the field. That's my proclamation to everybody. He's an instant max, set it and forget it. He's either going to upgrade what you have, or he's going to change your infantry marches to 2 Smite marches, or he's going to be a good upgrade if you run 3 infantry marches. And like I said, I'll have a video later about what marches you need to run when it comes to some of those combinations and things like that. The other thing we wanted to test out in this was the Garrison, okay? So the Garrison got to be a lot of fun. And with that, the Garrisons, I will show you this from the favorites here, okay? So when you look at this, this was the, let me see. Those were the first ones that we did here, and then here's where the Garrison started, okay? We were gonna run, let me see. There we go. We were going to run some different garrisons in the actual arc. And with that, we wanted to kind of see how this thing worked out, okay? So we did, and when we ran it, it's something we found, okay? The Gorgo Wallace is insane. Okay, and this is foreshadowing with Wallace, because I put the gear in pincer. Now Fluffy has meta stuff for his Attila Subutai. Meta. He runs that meta gear he runs, plus he runs the Delta. I have the gear that's a little bit scuffed, but I run it with Gorgo with the pincer, and I put Wallace behind it. It wrecks. That just shows you how crazy good pincer is. It is crazy good, okay? Then I put BQ behind her, and it also won, but did not do near as good as Wallace, okay? So BQ also won, and then the second time BQ got beat by the Attila Subutai. So there's some RNG in there, but it's going to trade about even, give or take, where Wallace is not losing. It is not losing to Attila Subutai, okay? So that's what we found out in the Garrison. We thought that if BQ, okay, with his skills in the Garrison, we wanted to test that. You were going to get this to actually work because when when this commander is attacking troops on the map, that includes a rally. However, down here, when you go to his fourth skill, when you're attacking field troops, it specifically says non-rally, you miss out on a lot of these bonuses from his fourth skill. And then, of course, it's the same thing as his expertise. So you lose his fourth skill and his expertise in the Garrison. But we still wanted to test it to see how powerful it was, because if it was crazy good, then we could get an idea of how this thing would work out. So let me kind of come back over here to these reports. And then we run Gorgo with Liu Che, the same kind of thing. Gorgo, Liu Che with Pincer, still pretty good. But then we went in and went Pincer on Pincer. This is Crix's Pincer. It is meta tier 5 everything with the Pincer inscriptions. And so it actually beat the Gorgo Wallace. This, on a pure damage rally, this is the best rally in the game. Scipio Emilianus with William Wallace and Pincer. Straight up. Okay, that's what Pincer has done. We had Attila Subutai wrecking everything. It was the best rally in the game. It was meta. Pincer comes out, and it literally takes older commanders or commanders that have been out for a little while, and it makes them great. It makes them the best. That's how broken Pincer is. And so it actually beat the Garrison. I think we ran it again, and it beat the Garrison again, okay? So we're looking at that trade saying, okay, 500,000, it traded at 75%, okay? Then we ran it with this, and it actually did a little bit better for whatever reason. The Gorgo BQ did a little bit better, then it got wrecked, okay? So the takeaway from it was that, and I'll kind of set this thing up too, because we wanted to show against the archers. This Garrison is so good with Pincer, it just crushes archers. This is infantry crushing archers. You want to know about PTI's archer? He's got one of the best archer rallies in the game. He's the only player ever to put a rally on Baba and trade positive, giving Baba 60 million power gone, dead. That's what this rally can do, okay? So this thing gets wrecked by Gorgo with William Wallace, okay? And then I ran it, let me see, did I run it over here? I think it got swarmed down. We ran it over here again on the on some of the other things. So we found out that in the Garrison, BQ was not going to do near as well. And that was one of the things that we had to kind of figure out as we kind of go through some of these different, reports and everything, was that Gorgo Wallace gives us a good idea when it comes to, what Tokugawa is going to be. And we just wanted to see if BQ was going to be any better. And he wasn't. Okay, so he's not going to be a Garrison commander. Okay, you can maybe in a pinch put him with Gorgo in a pass or something. That's not going to be ideal. Okay, so from there, what I think everybody needs to understand is that that's what we wanted to test. He's not going to be a Garrison. He is not going to be a rally. Okay, we ran him on the rally. Let me see here. I think Cortex ran him in the rally, and he only ran it because we were going to test out to see if his skills worked. And what we found out in the rally, okay, is that not only did this skill and this skill not work, but this skill didn't work either. So you only have 2 skills with BQ in the rally. You're not going to run him as a rally commander. It's not very good, okay? And so from that standpoint, we put that all to bed. Okay, Garrison and rally, not for him. Field, he's amazing. He's incredible, okay? And so from there, I said, okay, well, let's do some Canyon. So I put him in my Canyon lineup, and I'll see if anybody's getting, Quacks is hitting me here. Peace hit me. Peace is actually running. If you'll see, she moved her Guan, or her Constantine behind Guan, and she ran BQ with Liu Che. Here is what I'm running. I'm running a situation to where I use BQ, and when I used him, I'm basically replacing Liu Che. Okay, because if you replace Liu Che, it's just an upgrade to your Canyon. If you're running Liu Che Liu Che Constantine, this is an upgrade to your Canyon. And let me explain why. Okay, on Canyon, the big thing for BQ, number one, he's doing more damage than Liu Che. He's hitting a broader set of targets because he's 5 target, but it's a huge 180-degree shape. Okay, but here's the key to his Canyon. When you actually run this on his expertise, when you're reduced to 50% units remaining, you deal 60% more damage and take 30% less damage for 6 seconds. Let me explain. 6 seconds in Canyon lasts forever, okay? That is a long time in Canyon. When you reduce to 15% units remaining, it deals 100% more damage and takes 50% less damage for 6 seconds. So you basically got this till he's dead. Okay, and so from that standpoint, he is like built for Tank Canyon. That's what he's built for. And so I immediately switched him out. We're going to test some more things in Canyon, but he is a natural upgrade from Liu Che. As strong as Liu Che was, this dude is a natural upgrade. Okay, so you can run this dude with Constantine. I kept Guan with CPO. I kept my Mulan behind Trajan. I've got my Huo Arthur that's pounding from the top lane, and then I've got Zhuge with Herman. I'll play around with Shajar. I'll play around with moving Constantine. I'll play around with maybe replacing Guan CPO for maybe a Wallace Liu Che or a BQ Wallace, and then I put Liu Che back with Constantine. But he is going to be amazing for Canyon. He just is. It's that good. And so now when I fight anybody in Canyon, and we'll just go back through here to Peace against her, she tried to hit me. She got beat. So she had to try a couple of times. Here's what happened when I hit her. And if you look at this, Peace has got a really, really good. Now, this is not Mama Peace. This is not the Peace that's in 60 GT. This is the Peace that's in 606. Another female that's a really good player. But with this being said, watch what this BQ does. And you got to understand, he's got Constantine behind him. So he's going to drop his HP bar. And when he does and he heals, he's also going to come with a great amount. There's the big heal. And now he's taken less damage for 6 seconds. They just can't do near as much damage. So he lasts forever. Look how long he's lasted. Typically, my Guan is dead when my Liu Che dies. Now watch, he drops below 15. He takes even less damage for a while. So he's just lasting forever while my other lane is wrecking. And then I get on his top lane and there's nothing that Peace can do. Okay. So from that standpoint, it is really, really good in Canyon on how this thing works. It's really good with a good replacement for Liu Che, or you can play around with it and maybe run 2 Smite in Canyon with Liu Che, with Constantine, and run, I don't know, BQ with William Wallace. I still think Guan is great. And like I said, the way Peace beat me on this was that she, I think, put Constantine behind Guan. She put Constantine behind Guan, and then she ran just a full-on Smite kill you march. And you see the kill points this thing does? It does more than Huo Arthur. Of course, it lasted longest, but that is crazy how that thing works. So, with that being said, the first initial take from BQ is really, really simple, y'all. This dude is incredible in the field. Absolutely incredible. 5 target AoE. We ran it in a duel against the best dueling march in the game. It held its own. It didn't just get absolutely blitzed. But then we ran it 5-on-5. All things equal, it wrecked it over and over and over and over. Didn't matter about RNG. Didn't matter. It continued to outperform a Liu Che Alex versus a BQ Alex with all the other 4 marches, a BQ Liu Che with all the other 4 marches that dominated the Liu Che Alex. I dominated Fluffy over and over and over. And it would be the same way if he had BQ with Liu Che and I just ran Liu Che Alex, he'd do the same thing to me. That's how powerful this guy is. So he's an instant max. You don't even have to go back and watch the stream. I'll have it at the end screen so you can go back if you want to. We were blown away in the field, and when you did the 5v5, that's where he is unlocked. Full AoE with Liu Che. It's probably the strongest march in the game. Without really any question, you're hitting 10 targets and you're doing massive damage, 2,400 damage factor, 2,250. I mean, just crazy stuff you're doing in the field with these 2 commanders. Of course, Liu Che's got the extra rage stuff when it comes to the extra basic attack. And Obviously, BQ, massive damage. His kit is really, really good in the field. Even though his expertise might be kind of meh when it comes to the field. Canyon, it's great, but when it comes to the field, it might be okay. You don't know. It doesn't matter. All these malice stacks, you want to see malice stacks, it's wild. And in this video that you're kind of seeing up in the top corner, it is absolutely crazy how those malice stacks work. It is red numbers constantly, nonstop in the field. When you're dueling, it's red numbers everywhere. When you're in the murder ball, it's red numbers everywhere, because this thing fires off at 300 smite and you use a 10 stacks of malice when the target you're hitting gets lower and lower in their HP. It's crazy. And so that's my advice to everybody. Get this guy maxed, get him maxed as fast as possible. Ooh, let me change my city skin and get this AP going again. But get him maxed as fast as possible. Do it as quick as possible if you're going into any kind of fighting, and go wreck your opponent. Because if you don't, and if you try to do it with Arch and you don't do Pincer and you try to do it without BQ, you're going to get wrecked. It's that simple. That's how good this guy is. So with that being said, everybody have a great day. Hopefully this gives you enough information to go make your own decisions. And any other questions that you might have, leave a comment down below or join my Discord. Ask any questions you want there. And with that being said, we'll get out of here and you guys have a great day, broskies.